architect, a developer, begin to use AI, artificial intelligence, to enhance your work, to supercharge your productivity, and to basically do more with less. I think it is very critical that every professional learn how to use technology, not to replace themselves, but basically enhance. Use technology as a leverage to make your work better, faster, and actually deliver more value to the marketplace. So what I want to share today is what I've been doing and my train of thought, and also maybe learn from you guys out there if anybody's doing something like this. But I'm an architect in Lagos, Nigeria, and I have this idea, I have this conviction that architects should be more involved in actual execution, because over time what has happened is, as construction has become much more complex, much more sophisticated, we now had more rules, more sub disciplines in the built environment, and so the architect has been relegated to more of just conceptual design, presentation, and organization. But my main grouse is that when we see the built environment, the output, the actual product, many times it doesn't reflect the initial concept or the design solutions that I believe architects bring to the table. So I believe architects should be more involved in the value chain, in the built environment. In short, architects should be more involved in development, right, and actual construction, not just consultancy. So my background as an architect I was trained as a consultant, but I'm making my inroad into development, property development, because I want to see more good quality houses being built, but also to be involved in solving the housing deficit, the real housing problem in Nigeria, or as God will help us, the wider region. So what I want to do here is show you what I'm doing with AI. I'm not going to talk too much about about the AI agents themselves. I'm using Hermes. If you know about Hermes is an AI agent. So basically, your ChatGPT, your Claude, but those ones will give you access to the AI model. But Hermes is like a wrapper around the model. All right, so Hermes is like one step higher, and can organize and use the brain of the model, to achieve what you want to do, and kind of give you a bit more flexibility. So I'm giving it a prompt. This is an orchestrator prompt, more like a mission, and I want to give Hermes like a task to act like sort of like my assistant or my consultant, or whoever, to carry out this task. And I'm going to allow it to create sub agents. So this is one of the things AI can do for you. I would have had to either do all these roles myself, but the orchestrator can act as one person, and it can, so to speak, employ other people who are also specialized. All right, so through prompting, the Hermes can act as the supervisor role, with the skill of maybe like a research analyst or a lead real estate analyst, and then it can create sub roles of which I'm going to show you here, maybe a market researcher, a construction technician, or a lead engineer, a real estate maybe estate surveyor, a content but whatever provider or developer, or a content creator, and maybe an architect, a junior architect or something. Just whatever is necessary for that team to deliver your job. So that's what I want to show you here, just to get you thinking in what is possible. So I used Claude to actually develop this. I'm not going to go into that because of time. I can show you that later. And I gave it my background. So this is a bit tailored to me, because I want to see what it will come up with. And it's a bit tailored to where I am, in my particular journey as a professional, as a developer right now. So I allowed it to create the brief and to execute the task. So right now, this task is actually Telegram. So this is my Telegram open here, and you can see I'm actually chatting with the agent, and the agent has been working for the past it's going to show, let's see, I mean, okay, this is 11:06 and it has been working since 10:24, so about 30 minutes. All right, so I actually asked it first if it could find this particular file and read it. Okay, so I set this up in a folder. This, I'm using Obsidian, but this can be any folder on your laptop. I copied the prompt from Claude and put it locally on my desktop, and I'm asking the agent to see if it can read this file, and it did that. And once he read it, I said, okay, go ahead and execute. So let me go through the file to just show you what this is about. It's about affordable, sustainable housing plus energy as a service. So I'm looking at what value can we bring to the housing market. Number one, we want it to be affordable. You know, the whole question of affordable housing is still dicey. Affordable for who? All right, what is affordable for you may not be affordable for me. So, but the real people who are underserved in terms of the housing are like the middle class. Okay, because most of the affordable housing that we are actually seeing now are affordable luxury. That's another topic for another day. It's the upper middle class and upper class that are actually, you know, propping up this real estate market. The people that are really in deficit do not have access to affordable housing. All right, they are renting, but they can't actually. But that's another topic for another day. So I'm looking at how can we make housing affordable, and maybe bundle up some of the things that take up serious costs. For example, energy, having to buy a generator and fuel it. So can we use solar to act as a stopgap for that, and also increase the value of the project? And maybe this can even make the project more attractive to, you know, financing and maybe bigger bodies like the AFC or IFC and things like that. So first of all, so let's run through the steps. I'm asking Hermes to conduct this research and spawn as many sub agents as possible. So it's going to set up you know, the site, the working folder, which it has done. If I go to the left, you can see that it has actually opened under research outputs, just what it's saying here. It has actually created the folders. I did not create all these folders, and it has created sections where to put the individual sub agent outputs. Okay, the charts, all the generated charts will also be stored somewhere. The sources, because I asked it must use updated market data and cite every source, so I can actually still go back and come and verify and just check around. So the human element is still very important here. All right, so it asked me some questions, and my current capital position, do I have land deals, which I have answered in Telegram. And then he also asked me if I wanted it to run autonomously or if I wanted it to pause and ask for my consent at every section. So these are things that we have already talked about in Telegram. So you can see it asking me the questions here in Telegram. Working folder, I already knows that. Personal data, current capital, and all that. And then the autonomous question. And I asked it, okay, you know what? I don't have any capital right now. I don't have any land in view. I have an idea, but I want to see your model. And I said that if I know the cost inputs that work for the model, then I can go back and decide, oh, Shangotedo can work, or Aboyaya will work, or I need to go to Abeokuta to do this. You know, I want to see what model actually works and then work backwards. So it said okay, and it has gone ahead to start creating the work. So you can see it's launching the phase 1 agent, launching agents 2, so, and it begins to delegate the task to each of the agents. So I have a market research analyst, so I'm going to take you through this document to, you know, just explain everything briefly. So you are the orchestrating intelligence for a structured research project. Your principal is Adeposi, a Nigerian architect, BSc architecture. I gave it my agent knows my background. So that's one thing that's also important. You have to let it know, you know, about you, so it can actually create for you. ME, a Masters in Environmental Design, University of Lagos, holding an MBA and a Chartered Wealth Manager designation with 10 to 15 years in the built environment. He's now building a property development venture targeting affordable house structure, sustainable housing with bundled off-grid energy, delivered through a rent-to-own model. So that's something I'm still looking at. I'm not sure if the rent-to-own model will work or how it can work, especially from the financing angle. It works for the end user, but for the financing angle and the developer, so that's where because of the cost of capital and all that. So your mission is to produce a complete, accurate, well-structured research document on this venture, covering market context, product design, location analysis, legal framework, technical feasibility, financial modeling, capital raising, especially for a first-time developer with no track record. So I don't have track record in development. So if I'm going to approach a financier and they're asking, okay, what are the developments you've done to see that you can actually deliver, I don't have that, So that's how I'm coming. I want to see if I task this research analyst. Let me see what they can come with. Do the risk analysis, a pilot project plan, and a scale-up pathway. By the way, it was Claude that came up with this orchestrator prompt. Even though I had some conversations back and forth with Claude, but I asked it to give me a very robust prompt and outline for this research project. So this is not a generic report. Every section must be grounded in Nigerian market data, blah blah blah. So let's move down a bit. So what's the role of Hermes? Hermes, as the orchestrator, is going to spawn each sub-agent in the correct sequence. So the first person should go, so it's basically supervising them and managing this project. It will pass the relevant context from one agent to the next agent. All right, the market research guy has done his bit. Now you, who are the financial analyst, take this data and create a financial model. Okay, financial model is done. Take that and put it back into the real estate analyst and all that. So it will do that, and it will run a quality assurance review after each phase. So Hermes, the orchestrator, is actually acting as a lead real estate analyst with years of experience, and he's just basically managing this. Ask adequacy clarifying questions if a sub-agent surfaces ambiguity that affects the output. So I want this to be very detailed. All right, so I have the first agent here is a strategic context writer. Okay, he's the one writing the report. He's going to take all this, so developer profile and context. It will write the research document. This is the why this person, why now. Is basically working with the with Hermes to get this thing done. All right, it's going to synthesize my background, explain why my combination of skills is rare and defensible. It will frame the housing finance gap. So this is the person coming up with the research profile and the context. And then I have an idea which I'm working on already, which is I have experience with trading, and I think I have a thesis that one can actually multiply capital through trading, structured disciplined trading, which can be used to fund investment. So for me, I'm trying to do that. I have something called the Freedom Protocol. I can't go into that here. I will leave a link in the description if you want to check that out as a professional. But basically, it's how I'm trading to make about 10 to 15% a month with my capital, so that I can actually accelerate that capital and then use it for investments. So property is one of such investments, which I'm going to be looking at today. The second agent is a market research analyst. Okay, so you can see, and it has its tasks. It's going to check live web research, and it's going to give me all that detail. Middle class professional segments, housing pressure, energy crisis as a housing cost multiplier. So give me the foundation for this thesis that I have. Competitive landscape, who is building affordable housing in Lagos right now? Research instructions and all that. Cite every statistic with source and date. Come up with bar. I told you to actually give me bar charts, visuals, not just text. Give me tables, infographics, anything that will help my report to be more valuable. The third agent is a product design specialist. All right, so define the housing product and the energy bundle. So this one is coming up with a real estate product, what we're actually going to sell. the unit design brief, and this is an architectural product designer plus sustainability consultant, and is giving it the task. Okay, so it's gonna, what kind of mix? 2 bed, 80 square meter. We've talked about that before. Middle class lifestyle, passive design principles to reduce energy load, off-grid energy system, energy as a service model. How can we incorporate that into maybe the monthly rent, and blah blah blah. Sustainability features beyond energy, water harvesting. So I want to come up with this data-driven approach to the housing market, and what makes this product genuinely different from what exists. Right, so it's going to do that. It has its research instructions. So the fourth one is location intelligence. This is a Lagos real estate location analyst. We're going to do a deep dive on Shangotedo as the pilot location, and I told it should also not limit itself to that. Just do it as your job. Benchmark tables, Bagada, Ojodu, Ikorodu, Surulere. Just check around and see what works best for this kind of project, because you have to look at the people who want to buy this. Would they want to live in this place, and does the economics actually work out? Because land and location is one of the major factors in affordable housing. If you give them affordable housing in Badagry, yes, you can build it for cheap, but the people who are there have their economic sustenance maybe in VI and Lekki. So are they going to live in Badagry and work in Lekki without having the transportation thing sorted? So that's a serious issue, that we need to consider, which means that transport is now going to take up a lot of the savings that they would have had by trying to get affordable housing. So you're just shifting the problem, not necessarily solving it. All right. The next one is a legal and regulatory analyst. He's going to check out real estate law and advise me on that and put that into my report. Let's move down because of time. We have a technical feasibility engineer. So this one is a construction and development feasibility analyst. It's going to look through everything that has been done. It's going to assess the construction methodology that will work for this project, construction cost per square meter in Lagos, and off-grid energy system integration, water supply. So this one is looking at feasibility. Can this thing actually work? What is the realistic timeline for this kind of project, which will also feed into my financial model, I believe. It will give me a Gantt chart, a construction timeline. So this is a technical feasibility engineer who's going to take all the input from the previous agents and work on this report. The seventh agent is my financial modeling analyst. So after the technical guy is done, let's now talk about the money. Okay, he's a financial modeler with emerging market experience. Okay, he's going to build a financial model for the 2-plot Shangotedo pilot. I don't know why he keeps defaulting to 2 plots. I think 1 plot is ideal for a pilot, because I can do maybe 8 units on that 1 plot, 8 apartments. But if I do 2 plots, then the land cost may affect. But I've also told it to not restrict itself to 1 model. We need to see what works. We're looking at 25 to 30 million per plot for land cost. Construction, solar system, professional fees, contingencies, revenue model. That's a rent to own, rent per unit per month. I believe that should be per year. It always defaults to per month, but I want to change that. So that's something that's imported from whatever context Hermes or the agent was designed from. But in Nigeria, we are very used to annual payment, and I want to use annual for this, not to just make it too complex. All right, so we have different scenario analysis, 70% occupancy, 90% occupancy, which is the base model, and optimistic is 100%. Cash flow projections, debt service modeling. If I take debt, if I take 40% debt, if I take 60% debt, and at different rates. So definitely, I don't think I'm not interested in commercial construction loan. I'm looking more to if I can get more patient capital, like from development partners, green housing, or green or sustainable finance bodies, and the likes of them, Shelter Africa and Co. I know know what the opportunities are in that regard, but I wanted to see the private, normal developer model. What are the weaknesses of that, and how can I put a stopgap for that to solve that problem? So so check the current FMBN, that's Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, estate development loan rates, commercial bank construction loan rates. Use the land cost data from Agent 4, use construction cost data from Agent 6. Can you see how this thing is working in sequence? And then it will use Python to plot a chart, a projection over 5 years, and give me 3 scenarios. So Agent 8 is capital market and fundraising specialist. Is a development finance and capital raising strategist. This is one of the most critical sections, all right, because this is where I'm going to raise capital. It's going to look at the capital requirement, track record, problem, why conventional banks will decline first-time developers, and how I can work around it. So let's see what it comes up with. Land as equity, using titled land to unlock financing from banks or partners. So maybe if I can get a JV with a landowner who has a title, maybe we can form an SPV and use that to unlock financing, or maybe I can see how to raise some money to buy land and use that. So let's see what can work in that regard. JV structures, okay. Off-plan pre-sales. So again, off-plan pre-sales, I don't know if that works with rent to own, or maybe I have to do off-plan sales to investors who can now sublease or lease to these people who we are trying to help. So maybe the model is that I get investors who probably are upper middle class to upper class to buy these structures as investment, but now rent them to the people who really have the housing crisis. Do you get that permutation? Maybe that's the solution to this issue. If those guys cannot buy the housing themselves, but I need finance to provide the housing, then maybe we need to go that route. So let's see. NHF linked models, how to originate rent to own tenants who are NHF contributors, impact investors. That's one area I'm really looking at. Active funds, as I said, Shelter African Development Bank, International Finance Corporation, Acumen, OPIC. Let's see if this can work. Climate finance angle, maybe we can get some green funds, credits, green climate fund, cooperatives. Maybe cooperatives can come in, real estate crowdfunding platforms, supplier financing. I don't know how realistic that is. Rent to own, so I'm right here. Rent to own develop deposit as construction capital. Rent to own deposit as construction capital. So that's going to take some time. This is something my dad is also an architect, by the way. He's also working in affordable housing, and something that is a model he has tried to work with before, and I believe I've seen some people do this recently. There's this Ibile Holdings who are also doing something like that. So you pay some money, maybe once you've made 30%, they give you allocation. Once you make up to 50% contribution, then they deliver your house or something like that. But I think the whole idea is that when you give them that capital, they have an engine, either it's through other deals they are doing or through some whatever arrangement to multiply that money or access capital to finish the project, and then you can now pay over 5 years or so. So we will have to pre-qualify tenants, because the last thing you want is people, the wahala of, oh, he paid 20%, but he couldn't continue after defaulting, and then the legal wahala that comes with that. Recommended capital stack for the pilot, specific amount, sources, and sequencing. Okay, so that is that. Risk analysis. So let's look at the risk situations. Obviously, real estate comes with serious risks and liabilities when things go wrong. So identify, score, and provide mitigation for every material risk. Cover market risk, construction risk, legal risk, energy system risk, regulatory risk, macroeconomic risk, developer capacity risk, single person operation, key man dependency. Okay, so that's from a project standpoint. Obviously I'm not going to run this on my own, but again, let's just see what it comes up with. We're going to have high, medium and low for each likelihood, and then we have the mitigation strategy. The 10th, I didn't know we had up to 10 agents. I thought we were like 6 to 8, but we have, I told you to spawn as many agents as necessary. Okay, so we have in fact, you know what, let me do this so that we can see what's happening on the side in Telegram, because I'm getting different reports. I asked it to install something. So by the way, this agent, if it hits a roadblock, it's not just going to come back and say it's not possible. It's going to try to find a way around it. So I believe this issue we're having, let me see what happened. Okay, agent 2 hit rate limits. So I'm actually using a free AI model called Owl Alpha. So I routed this. I mean, if you want to do this seriously, maybe you can pay. I will have to pay for Claude API, so that, because Claude is kind of like the best brain out there, but I'm doing it with a free agent, so I'm not paying any money right now. So what that means is there's going to be limits on the access. So sometimes if there's a lot of pressure on the server or a lot of calls from other people, it will not work, and then you have to keep coming back. So as you can see, hit rate limits. The web API seems to be struggling. Let me handle research directly myself. It will be faster and more reliable. So basically, it was trying to get the market research agent, I believe, to work, which is agent 2. Agent 2 is the market research analyst, and it says that one is hitting, is having some struggles. So he now wants to do the research directly and write section 3 itself by searching the web directly. Still working, no response, no website tool available. Let me check the web tools that we have. So it checked the web tools. There's no web search tool available in this session. The sub agents were likely failing because the web tool wasn't providing search either. Let me check if there's a web tool set configured and use call. So basically, it's working through the problem to find a solution, and it says okay, it can use DuckDuckGo, as a search tool. Let me find the most relevant pages. So you can see it's searching The Nation, Punch. You can see all those links, and it's just working through the entire problem. Most Nigerian sites are rendered. Let me try Google RSS. Excellent. Google RSS is giving us leads. Let me fetch. So basically, it's working through the problem. I hope it does get an answer. I now have extensive data. Let me also get the solar cost data and then write the market section. I now have enough data to write the market section. So basically, it's working through the problem, and comprehensive data is writing the section. Let me generate the charts and save the sources. Okay, so, and it's still having this issue. So it's working through the problem. So let me check the what did you say it did now? It wants to write the market section. So let me check if it has actually written. I believe under sections I should see market context. So it has actually written out the market section. So you can see it has done developer profile. It's very interesting. So I would sit down and go through this and look at it. Competency gap. So this is actually doing a serious research, and it's coming up with diagrams. So I'm going to post the final results, the link, so you can actually read that. So let me go back to the prompt to just finish out. I believe we were in number 10. So I'm just going to run through now. Okay, number 9 was risk analyst. Yeah. So number 10 is pilot project planner. It's going to just an overall pilot plan for the first 24-month pilot roadmap, procurement strategy, pre-lease, pre-leasing, budget controls, scale up strategies, how I can scale up after the first one, and executive summary writer. I didn't think it needed this many agents, but I told it to do as many as it wants, so it just broke out that. So executive summary is a report that it's a PDF report that I'm going to get with all the information. Maximum length 2 pages, no new information, only synthesis of the document. All right, strategic advisor will now advise me after. It's either a go or a no-go decision. What conditions must be true to proceed with the pilot, and the 3 most critical decisions adequacy must make in the next 90 days. Open questions that require professional advice, legal counsel, QS, and all that. The quality assurance agent runs after each phase, because I told it to check quality assurance, and it checks if statistics are cited well and all that. Just checks to make sure that this stuff is correct. The final compilation agent is going to combine all the files, which it is actually outputting. Here you can see it's bringing all the files. Let me see if they have the sources. It's also putting the sources here. You can see the sources for each of the profiles and the sections. So yeah, I think I'm on the last one, quality assurance, final compilation, and this will give me the results that I want in a document format, and I also save it in a markdown format. Markdown is what you're looking at, which is like a text format, and it has the orchestrator rules. All right, so that is the nutshell of what we are doing. I believe we have been running for quite a while now, 30 minutes. I will end this video now, and maybe later on I'll do a review video to go through the output of this prompt and see what. So we'll go through these documents as they're coming out. So developer profile, market context, product concept, a household size, income brackets. It's just giving me a whole lot of information, even though I may not implement this directly, but it will probably give me ideas on how to tackle this issue, at least present the best case from what it can get. So if you like what you watched, let me know in the comments, and yeah, I would update you on my journey as an entrant into the development market through my company, Design Party Limited, and then I'll come back and see you on the next one. So please, if you like to follow this series, like, subscribe to this channel so you can get notified when I post new videos. You can also check out, if you're a professional and you're looking for how to build wealth, manage your money by yourself. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me making 15 to 20% a month when inflation is like over 20%. It means you are just working backwards. So I believe capital needs to be accelerated before investing in Nigeria. That's my thesis, and that's what I've been doing personally, because I have the experience trading. But I was able to formulate a strategy which I call the Freedom Protocol, that I teach to people how they can by themselves, with a little bit of learning. I have the community and accountability structure around it, where you can grow your money at 10 to 15% a month. Even if it's 5 to 10% a month, over a year, that's going to be like 60% or more. And if you compound that, you can do that for 2-3 years and begin to then take that money and put it into other investments. Or if you want, for me, I want to go into development, I can take $10,000 and make that maybe $30,000 over 3 years. That could be $100,000. Following this strategy, it works on paper, but the structure and the accountability around it is what's going to ensure that you are able to hit your goals. So that is what I'm working on, and I would love to invite you to join that journey. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next